Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ride. Yes, that's right. You are reading it right. We are live. We're coming to you live tonight. Um, Again, but before we get the show started, let me tell the people who I am. I am Mr. CJ Jones, aka Mr. TNTBS, and you are watching, yes, a live episode of Elephant Exposed. And this is under my wife's platform. This needs to be said. I've already reached out to my co-host. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be joining us tonight or not. But at either rate, we're going to keep this program rolling for you because you deserve to know what elephants we need to expose this evening. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this video because this is going to be my talking point for tonight. So, if you guys haven't heard the story of the pastor or the preacher down in Alabama, I want to say this. I believe it's Alabama. Anyway, he was just being a good Samaritan, and he ended up in handcuffs. And I'm going to go ahead and play Dr. Rashard Ritchie's version of the accounts of what took place because he goes over it kind of quickly to give you the whole full story as to what happened. But then I want to put my own comments in there and I want to talk about this thing from a forgiveness versus accountability perspective, because when the dear preacher was letting us know that he doesn't hold any personal grudges towards the neighbor that called 911 on him, doesn't mean that there was no accountability. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and open up my files for for further discussion. So this is an update, if you will. And like I said, this is the interview that Dr. Rashard Ritchie had on Indisputable about it. So we're gonna go ahead and break this down.
Exclusive. No other news agency has this video. Let me remind you of the pastor in Alabama who was arrested for watering his plants. Let me remind you of him. Put up his picture. That pastor went to jail for watering the plants of his neighbor. He was inside of his own community. He was harassed by the police. We now have the video, and we are the only outlet with this video so far. So let me first take you to the approach and the question posed to Pastor Jennings on that day. Here it is.
Howdy.
Hey man, how's it going?
Pretty good. What you doing here, man?
Waterflower.
Are they saying that, is that your vehicle?
So I'm gonna pause it right here just for one moment. Now, we all know that no matter what platform these particular video cam shots are taken, we always take these video cuts with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of video footage that either gets edited out or omitted or left off or whatever for time restraints or whatever. So right now we just getting straight to the meat and potatoes of it. And so just to keep that in mind, so some people may have longer versions of this body cam footage or a little bit more in detail. So let's keep that in mind as well. But right now we just jumping straight into it. Okay, let's continue.
It's not?
It's the neighbor's vehicle.
The neighbors?
314, I'll be on 13.
Okay.
Yeah,
You live here?
no, I don't live here.
Okay. They saying that this vehicle is not supposed to be here and you're not supposed to be
Who's
here.
saying that?
They called about it. I don't know who called.
I'm supposed to be here. I'm Pastor Jennings. I live across the street.
You're Pastor Jennings?
Yes, I'm looking out for their house while they gone.
Okay.
Watering their flowers.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Now, do you have like ID and
I
all?
don't know, man. I'm not gonna give you no ID.
Why not?
I ain't did nothing wrong. And they did
Well,
nothing
you look,
suspicious.
Listen, I'm not saying do nothing wrong.
No, listen,
There's a suspicious person.
Look, I used to be a police officer in Goodwater. Don't come here with that. Okay.
Look, man, don't do this to me.
See, right there, he's already dropping all kinds of hints. He said who he was. You can see what he's doing. He's even giving his verbal resume right now. Like, look, I'm not just your regular guy that you think you can pull some quick, BS on. It's daylight. What I'm doing ain't suspicious at all. Go on with that mess now. So you either have a legitimate reason why you are talking to me, or you need to move on. That's what I see from here, straight up. So let's go ahead and continue. And I do apologize about the lag. Sometimes it is what it is.
There's a suspicious person in the yard, and if you're not want to identify yourself.
I don't have to identify myself. I stop and identify state. That guy know me. He came to my store that got broke in. I live right over there across the street. Who called y'all?
That's what we got to figure out. But first,
you live here?
He don't live here.
You think
I'm not saying nothing about.
You have no right to approach me if I ain't did nothing suspicious or nothing wrong.
Listen.
Told him I'm a pastor. I pastor. I don't want to hear you.
Sir.
You want to lock me up? Lock me up.
Nobody wants to lock you up.
I'm not showing y'all anything. I'm going to continue to work.
Don't have to.
I don't care who called y'all. Lock me up and see what happens.
I got much more video. So right now, officers are approaching an individual. Here's what we clearly know. The owners did not call the police. Watering somebody's plants, not suspicious. And it does not create what's called probable cause in order to engage in an investigation and arrest. But because they could not put this black man in his place, because this black man did not yes or boss them and do everything they said, because this black man actually knew his rights, here's what they decided to do.
Yeah.
I'm 10-4. We got one that's not listening to it. Look, man, let me see.
One that's
let me
not
see
listening to it.
Just calm down, okay?
No.
Stop.
I like this.
Okay. We're just trying to talk to you and see.
I don't want to argue with you, okay?
All right, go ahead and do what you got to do, dog.
You
do what you got to do. Go on and lock me up.
Look, just have a
It's
seat.
already
not locked up. You're just
already a lawsuit,
Yes,
dog.
sir. Yes, sir.
It's already a
Okay.
lawsuit.
The moment that they place
already lost.
him in handcuffs,
Okay, look, man.
that's where you
Who
get your
called y'all?
lawsuit from.
I don't have to ID
You
myself.
will not listen.
I have a call on you. You have to identify yourself to me. You
No,
understand what I'm
no,
telling you?
Nope, you
No,
don't.
no.
Not on
You
private
watch how
property.
you want. Take me down, book me. Go do what you need to do. Go do what you need to do.
Do you know that gentleman back?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Does he have
he
permission?
lives right there.
Okay, does he have permission here to be watering flowers?
He may because they are friends.
Okay.
They went out of town
Even if
today.
he did
so
not
maybe
have,
watering
okay,
their flowers.
this is the,
Okay.
Be
this the
completely
part that
normal.
gets me. This is the part that gets me. Let's just say he didn't have permission to water his neighbor's flowers. Where is the suspicious activity? Even if he was. Where's a crime in that? I'll wait. We live. I got time to wait. Really? How is that suspicious activity? Anybody? Here's the thing. Right now, what you have got going on is an internal battle with police ego. Whenever this, and this is, I explained this to my son a little earlier today. As far as our training goes in police academy, by the book, you will never see where we as police officers are taught this is how you're going to handle things like this, where you're just going to go in ego only, and if someone don't comply to you or comply with your order, or people start talking back or whatever, then you just basically use your power and authority to intimidate and continually to harass without legal grounds to back yourself up in. You will never hear that in anyone's police academy, any of it. But what you will come across is after they graduate police academy, after the proper training is done, they'll go out into the field with their field training officers, and they'll actually begin to see how policing actually, or what policing actually looks like according to the entity that they have joined. And then if you still want to wear that uniform with that particular entity, then you will adopt and adapt, I should say adapt to what that entity does, because you are the new person coming in. So even if you see things that you don't even agree with, it's either you go along to get along, even though you may disagree, or you get shunned and shut down and then eventually shut out. So I said all that to say this. These guys could not get over the fact that they came across an individual that was very well versed in his rights. And he gave them a warning. He told them, hey, look, I was a police officer, so I know what you can and can't do. And there's nothing that's so special about this female here that all of a sudden validates him doing whatever he needs to do. Because she is the one that actually called 911 on the pastor. So let's go ahead and continue.
Okay, that's fine. If he would have said, hey, I got this, gave his identification because he's a suspicious person, he said that's not his vehicle, it's their vehicle.
We
Okay.
have a call. Like,
Yeah.
we're here because we're called here. I don't know who called, but somebody did.
There's a reasonable suspicion that you're here. It's not a crime.
Yeah.
If you would have said, yeah, here's my name, here's everything, we were like,
I
okay.
told him my name.
You didn't tell me your name.
I decided. He asked me who I was. I said,
You didn't give it to me when I first
Pastor
asked.
Jennings. Pastor Jennings.
That's not a name.
But still-
That's a pastor.
Yeah.
I need
God,
your
The way
name.
y'all handle this situation was totally wrong.
Well, listen,
You racial profile.
we're not
put it
racial
on him.
profile.
Yes, you did.
No, sir, we're not about
I
that.
told
okay?
you I was here watering the flowers. But this
How do I know that's the truth?
Because
Anybody
I had the water hose in my hand. I was watering all the flowers.
any
Dumbass cops. How do I know you're watering plants? Dumbass, because he's watering plants. That's how you know. Detective, investigator. I got more video. So now, what has happened? Neighbor, all right, a good white woman, right? A good white neighbor has validated. Now, did the police officer say, well, Madam Neighbor, I need to see your ID because I just can't trust your story? No, he trusted what she said 100%. I need you to catch that. The officer trusted what the white woman told him about the black male resident in that community. He did not trust the black male who told him why he was watering the plants, but he trusted the white female on face value. That's called implicit bias.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Now, here's where the cops decide to still charge the lawful resident, Pastor Jennings, and the pastor was correct on the law. The cops were incorrect. I'm going to show that in just a moment. So they decided to charge him and they lied. Here it is.
So just obstruction?
Disorderly or obstruction.
I'll just do obstruction.
Obstruction of governmental operations.
Yeah.
We're here to investigate a call, and he wouldn't give us his
Yeah.
name or any other thing. Yeah, he told me he was trying to call the owner. But still, I need his name. You know, we gotta have his name.
Yeah.
You got his name.
I'll take him over to the PD for you.
You got his name.
Yeah, I'll go get gas.
If there's no, in the bond book, if it's not listed, just do the lowest one, the 500. I don't know if it's gonna be in the bond book or not. That way we won't be overcharging or anything like that.
And that's a
He
start.
seems like a reasonable, nice guy. I don't understand.
Yeah. He shouldn't.
To be honest with
If
you-
he's a good water policeman, he's a
And here's the thing, guys. That's your senior officer on the scene. He's a sergeant. You're supposed to be a lot more versed in the law when you got a situation like that. He should have been able to just come up on the scene, evaluate what happened, and say, hey, let this guy go. Period. You know his name already. You know where he lives at. This man has already went over and beyond what he was supposed to do as a civilian. The only thing that he did not do is what you was really wanting him to do is the way that Dr. Ritchie had said already. He didn't massa you. He didn't buckle down and all these other things. Oh, let me get my wallet and everything. He didn't have to. He didn't have to. But anyway, so now it's ego time. We just can't let him just get away. So now we have to sit and think really hard. What can we do? Oh, the go-to charge, obstruction. Obstruction is going to get a whole lot of police officers in trouble because obstruction doesn't always fit. And this is one of the cases where it truly does not fit the scenario. Anyway, let's go ahead and try to get this thing rolling. Again, I do apologize for the lag, but we're going to work with it. Also, just got in contact with my
this ain't an identifying state. Yes, it is.
Talk to us. Well, she does tell us it's a mistake.
He'll be able to
and all that
join
stuff. But at this point, he's already collected the charge. Once we place him on arrest, we can't unarrest him. Does that make sense?
Now that's
This is so simple. And the
Now,
neighbor
that's his
just
wife.
told
That's his wife. She, in her hand right there, she's presenting his actual ID, in which she don't even have to do. You got the neighbor sitting up there with that little look on her face. Where I call it the whole gas face look like she need to go to the bathroom or something, because this has gone a little deeper and a little more than what maybe even she intended, or maybe she really intended for this to happen from the start. You never know what people's hearts are, but that's neither here nor there now, because now we're here. But that line of, oh, well, now we have him arrested, we can't unarrest him, says who? You're the police officers. You have the control of either impeding someone's freedom or letting them go. How many police officers have had people in detainment or under detainment? You didn't even have to say that he was arrested. Even if you said he was arrested, you can still take him out of handcuffs, apologize for the inconvenience, go on with your day. But no, this is pure ego. That's all this is. It's pure ego hidden under the veil of obstruction. So now you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Now you got a lawsuit coming, and it's going to be a hefty one. I am frozen. Just a little bit.
I just want to please water the plants and
he
take care of
he
them.
said
Look
that,
out
but it
for
was
the
all
house.
afterwards. It was all afterwards.
What you doing here, man?
Water flower. I'm supposed to be here. I'm Pastor Jennings. I live across the street.
that satisfied every legal requirement. And I looked up Alabama law, got something to expose here. Now, the pastor said, if you arrest me, you're gonna get sued. That's exactly what has happened. Once again, this is an indisputable exclusive. Let me give you some background. Pastor Michael Jennings, as reported previously, was charged. Those charges were later absolutely dropped. He did say he would sue. Let's put up his attorneys. Boom. Those are two people you don't want to see coming.
Yeah, buddy.
So Pastor Jennings is represented by National Civil Rights Attorney Harry M. Daniels and Bethany Embry Jones of the Embry Law Firm. Daniels and Jones sent a statement to me directly. They said, and I quote, Pastor Michael Jennings did nothing wrong. The responding officers asked him to identify himself and asked why he was at the particular resident, and he did. He told them he was Pastor Jennings, the name of the church he pastors. He pointed out his address across the street and told them why he was there watering his neighbor's flowers. So you got to think about this. Think about this. Not only did he say who he was, he told them where he worked. He gave them his address, pointed directly to his home, and gave them the reason for his presence, which he did not have to. But then there's a deeper search into the Alabama law. So unfortunately, that was not good enough for these particular cops on that day. They chose to arrest Pastor Jennings without a scintilla of arguable, probable cause to do so, according to the attorneys. Notably, Pastor Jennings was under no obligation to identify himself pursuant to Alabama Code, section 15-5-30. It's called Stop and Identify Law. Because he was not in a public space, which is required. We are thankful that, like so many other, we are thankful that Pastor Jennings is here today to tell his story and did not become a hashtag like so many other people of color. So the cops were wrong. They were incorrect.
But they had time to correct themselves.
An issue,
and that's the thing about it.
About identifying who you are. It's not what it is. In order for that law to apply, you must be in a public space. Being in a residential yard is not considered a public space by law. The officers were wrong and they arrested him anyway, being cowards that they are. That's a damn shame. The guy in charge,
too much ego.
Put him up. This is your chief of police. His name is Rick McClellan. He is the chief of police for Childersburg, where this took place. So now we have the video. Now we have the rest of the story. Now the lawsuit is coming. And yes, these cops have engaged in defunding the police because they will have to settle or they will lose in court. All right. I know it's a lot to this story. David, what are your thoughts here so far?
Well,
so again, that was just bringing everybody up to speed. The other clip that I was wanting to show you guys, or to share with you guys tonight, was the actual interview where he actually has his lawyers waiting, and I'm hoping I'm getting the right one because I have it broke down into three sections here. I'm hoping that this is the one that where he actually has his lawyer present with him, and they go back and they have a reaccount of what happened. Let me bring this up. Hopefully,
pastor arrested by Alabama police as he was.
This is not, but this was another one of the earlier videos, like when the video first came out. And basically, I mean, you don't even have to be an expert. You got this panel from Good Morning America. You know, that's Michael Strahan right there. But even their quick comments about the news of this coming out, I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just let it play for play's sake. Like I said, you don't have to even be an expert on this one. You don't have to have an expertise in law enforcement or none of that to know that these police officers, this particular set of police officers, they just overstep. and they had time to correct themselves. So let's look at it from a news anchor point of view. Now, you know that whenever you're on a big platform like this, you have to try to give the news without showing that you're leaning towards one side or the other. And I feel like that they still did a pretty good job in trying to, walk that middle ground without leaning one side to the other. But you get a spill of real truth here from the commentators. So let's go ahead and check it out. We're gonna go ahead and play it. No lag. Let's practice patience. Get this thing going. We are live. So
watering his neighbor's garden while they were out of town. Holmes is with us now, and what Pastor Michael Jennings is saying after the ordeal. Good morning, dear.
All right, Stray. Driving while black, walking while black, golfing while black, swimming while black, napping while black, staying in an Airbnb while black, sitting in a Starbucks while black, bird watching while black. It's become a part of our vernacular here. And look, you and I talked about plenty of these stories here. Add to this now, watering your neighbor's plants while black. That's what this pastor was doing, and police were called on him. And now we have this police body cam video that shows how he goes from literally a water hose to handcuffs in just a couple of minutes.
I ain't did nothing suspicious or nothing wrong. Told him I'm a pastor. I pastor until I don't want to hear you. Sir. You want to lock me up? Lock me up.
This newly released police body camera video shows the arrest of an Alabama pastor who was watering his neighbor's plants.
Do what you got to do. Go on and lock me up.
This past spring, Pastor Michael Jennings was doing a favor for a neighbor who'd asked him to water their plants while they were out of town. But police arrived and started questioning him.
This vehicle is not supposed to be here, and you're not supposed to be here.
Who's saying that? I'm Pastor Jennings. I live across the street.
You're Pastor Jennings?
Yes, I'm looking out for their house while they gone.
Okay.
Watering their flowers.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Now, do you have like ID and all?
Oh, no, man. I'm not going to give you no ID.
Why not?
I ain't did nothing wrong.
And if you're not one to identify yourself.
Who called y'all?
That's what we got to figure out.
I ain't did nothing suspicious or nothing wrong. Told him I'm a pastor. I pastor until I don't want to hear you. Sir. You want to lock me up? Lock me up.
We're just trying to talk to you, man. Come here. Look, man, let me see your phone. Let me see your phone, dude. Just calm down.
No.
Stop.
Do what you got to do. Go on and lock me up. I told you I'm a pastor.
Okay, look, man.
Who called y'all?
You have to identify yourself.
All I did said, hey, man, do you live here? No. Is that your car? No.
The pastor was eventually put in the back of a squad car. A woman soon arrives on scene, identifies herself as a neighbor, and vouches for Pastor Jennings.
He lives right there, and he would be watering their flowers. This is probably my fault.
She says she is the one who made the initial call to police.
So you called not because of the car, but because you thought you saw someone beside him.
Right, I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, I got to keep their flowers watered. I got to keep their flowers watered while they're gone. You okay?
Jennings spoke to GMA about the ordeal.
It was kind of surreal at that moment because I'm wondering, why is this happening? I was thinking if I did something wrong or resisted, that I could have been shot. So I was trying to cooperate, even though I didn't understand what was going on. I was agitated. I was angry, but I knew to comply.
You had every right to be.
56-year-old maintains this was a case of racial profiling.
You racial profile?
We're not racial profiling. No, sir. No, sir. We're not about that.
I told you I was here watering the flowers.
How do I know that's the truth? Anybody?
Of course, they got to say that on camera.
Throughout the video,
You gotta
police
say that on camera. You
suggested
gotta
that the
say that on
situation
camera if you
might
want
have
your
been
job.
different if Jennings had provided identification.
It doesn't matter if pastor or if he's a pastor or not. Like the thing is, he seems like a nice enough, reasonable guy. Just talk to us, man.
Alabama law allows police to ask someone for identification in a public place if they reasonably suspect that person of committing a crime.
To be shackled and to have your freedom taken away from you, it's something else. It's dehumanizing, And I thought, why would they be doing this? It's something that it gives you nightmares. It gives you nightmares after.
Jennings maintains there was no crime, given he was on private property with permission.
The neighbor, a white woman, they took her word as the gospel truth.
Exactly.
But the pastor who preached the gospel every Sunday, they didn't take his word at all.
The pastor was charged with 1 count of obstruction of government operation. That charge was later dropped. For now, Pastor Jennings, says he's leaning on his faith.
My faith has helped me a lot because I knew that God would work the situation out. You have to forgive people because, you can't judge people and hold things against people.
Pastor does say plans to file a lawsuit. Police department say they have no comment on this because of pending litigation. Guys, everybody involved here. The woman who called, maybe questions about what you could look at her story and say, why would you call? People look at the police and say, you could have handled this differently. This is not good community policing. Police will look at him. People will look at him and say, hey, just show the ID. This didn't have to happen. Everybody could have done something a little better in this situation. And guys, the gut punch in this is at the end of this video, his wife shows up on scene when he's in the back of the car, brings his ID. Police at that point say, we can't unarrest him.
Oh.
And he still ends up that was.
So maybe we can all.
Did y'all hear the reaction of the other?
Well, that's the thing too. The neighbor came out, acknowledged it was a mistake, yet they still made the charge that was dropped later. That's extraordinary.
And again, we're all learning something. This is about community policing and having a better relationship. This could have been handled by everybody differently. Did you have to haul the pastor off to jail? People ask that question.
Did not.
So guys, just unfortunate.
No,
hopefully everybody learned something.
We're learning, TJ. You're doing these stories too often.
So here's my thing, guys. So they ended their comments on what I really am bringing this elephant to light about is in our culture. I can't speak for no other culture. In our culture, in the Black culture, for the most part, for those of us who have a I say a forgiving spirit about ourselves. It's something that is taught. It is something that doesn't come easy. But it is ingrained in us throughout the years and throughout our hardships and different things like that. To forgive. But forgiveness, or the act of forgiving, or of forgiving, should I say, it's really, you're not going to take some type of revenge out on that individual or individuals, whoever and whatever the offender is. I just got my co-host in. Let me go ahead and bring him on in. Hang on a second. We got him. What's up, buddy? We doing this thing, man. Your entry could not have been more perfect. I just ended. I had just played the video that came from Good Morning America, and the way that they ended their commentation on the pastor, they ended it with him saying that he's not gonna fight this battle like Connolly, like holding a personal grudge against his neighbor, even though she know that she was the one that actually called the police out there, because there's a little nugget within that story itself that I was trying to actually find that video from Dr. Richie to play. But what happened is that I could not find it quick enough to do the show. But Dr. Richie and them also has an exclusive of the copy of the transcript that when when she actually called the dispatcher, because that's who picks up the phone. And when Dr. Richie read out word for word how that call went through, bruh, I'm telling you, you talk about something that just like ran through me and like made me extremely angry. Like I could not believe what this woman said. First of all, she did not say it was her neighbor or it looked like a single person. Nothing of that. She described this person at first as being a young black male. Then some young black men looked like they were appearing to break into the house. So of course, when a dispatcher hear that, they're gonna go right into work mode and be like, okay, do you see him? Can you describe him? You know, whatever. Like, don't expose yourself. Da 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 da. You know, because their job is to protect the caller. So we can't blame the dispatcher for doing their job, his or her job, because that's what they're supposed to do. But when I tell you, this woman literally just made up a suspicious scene verbally. Of course, the police officers can't help but go by what they're being dispatched out for. But here is where your common sense is supposed to kick in. If I got a call that I'm looking for a young, not one or more young black men, I'm definitely not looking at an older black man. So that in itself, my senses, my discernment should kick in and be like, okay, not him. I'm sorry, sir. You said you a pastor? I should automatically have some sense, just like how they expect for the public to automatically have some sense of trust when we see a badge. You should automatically have some sense from the clergy to say, hey, now I'm supposed to almost have like an automatic trust with you that what you're saying is legitimate. Let's get some context clues.
But check out the fact that she used key trigger words
exactly
to get the response that she wanted. She wanted them when they got there. She wanted them to be on 1,000 already. Young black, a group of young black men breaking into a house.
Come on.
So that right there, that's a problem in itself because, you know, that's why, you know, I know a couple of times, you know, parents called the police on their kids and their kids end up getting killed because they said, oh, they was being violent or this, that, and other, even though they was trying to get them help. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that you got to really watch, you know, how you setting this thing up. Because when they get there, they're going to be ready to go. They're going to be on go mode. So that's what she was trying to do.
Exactly.
So
she already knew what she was doing from the giddy up. Like let's do it old school country style. From the giddy up, you already knew, and you said the key points. She knew the trigger words to use to get police out to that resident.
Wow. If she would,
I wouldn't put it past her. I would not put it past her to even know that she even knew that it was the pastor, because they're not new to one another. Mind you, these are neighbors. They've been around each other for a time, a long length of time. They're not new to one another.
Right.
It is a common practice for him to be watering his neighbor's yard. They are all like literally across the street from one another and side by side. She did this simply, let's just call the elephant for what it is. She did it for the devilment of it, period. And she ended up getting caught, and then she's trying to sit up there and save face in front of police officers when they got on the scene to about some, maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault. I didn't know it was him. Stop it.
But you know what? Suppose that head went all the way to the left. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, suppose the pastor would have been like, you know, really aggressive, you know,
He wouldn't
like,
be
hey,
here.
you know, and maybe like, you know, really upset because of what had happened. That could have really went to the left. And then what? She just gonna let the chips fall where they may and just act like, oh, she was so innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Because
that's
what
with somebody's life.
Because that's what women like her do. That's what women and people with her kind of mindset, that's what they do. They have no regard. There is no regard for anyone that does not look like them.
Wow.
They have no sense of value of life outside of anyone that does not look like they do. Elephant exposed, anybody that is not white.
That's just that's just the black and white.
I would encourage our viewers that to go look at Indisputable, hosted by Dr. Rashad Ritchie, and specifically look for that video where he actually airs the 911 script, where he actually reads out line by line. Dispatcher says what she says. What she says, what the dispatcher says. She knew exactly how to get those police officers out there. But here's the thing, though. Even with all of that taking place, even when the police officers came out to the scene and everything, the biggest, the third, because they said, number one, they lied a lot. But one of the biggest lies that they told was to the pastor's wife. We already have him arrested. We can't unarrest him. Duane, bro. I don't know if you have experienced this, but even as a police officer, I have been known to have somebody in handcuffs in the car, in the car, ready to go. And we were told, let him go. Apologize for the inconvenience and pray that they don't hit us up later for a civil suit. What you mean you cannot unarrest somebody?
Right.
You arrested them. That is the power and authority that you do have. I'm like, my guy, were you not thinking about the words that came out of your mouth before you even said this?
Right.
And what really killed me is whenever, and before that happened, the sergeant comes out on out to the scene, and they're literally sitting up there. And this is before they made the decision to arrest. They sitting up there brainstorming. Okay, what are we gonna charge them with? I mean, what are we gonna charge them with? The call, whenever the dispatcher was calling the police officer just to check on their status. Okay. He goes, Roger that, we have one not listening to us. When was that ever a crime?
Right.
We have one not listening to us. That was almost laughable, like for real, for real. And I'm like, oh my God, stop it. And then let's entertain what Good Morning America said. The lead guy, the lead anchor, when he was saying, you'll have people breaking this down. They'll say, well, why the pastor just didn't show his ID? When have you ever said, oh, let me get my ID just to go next door and check on my neighbor, or do something nice for my neighbor?
Exactly.
I feel like I'm gonna have to have my ID for stuff like that.
I probably got pajamas on, some kind of lounge wear, you know. Probably something
It doesn't matter. The thing about it is, it wasn't like the pastor refused to tell his name. He said, I am. I'm doing this. This is broad daylight. Nothing that I'm doing is suspicious. Remember, we just did a show breaking down. There are two reasons why a police officer can start talking to you. okay, and that's probable cause of a crime, and reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion. This is what's tripping up police officers that has a heavy badge and they are not thinking all the way through.
Right.
And clearly
Because
they themselves are not clear on the law about whenever you approach someone, think about your jurisdiction. They're not thinking about their limits. Now,
that word reasonable is such a gray area, such a subjective and objective. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like for from one person to the other. That's why for so long it's been. I was scared. I was afraid for my life. I was defending myself, and then so many of them got off in the past because it's like you can't say they wasn't afraid. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it needs to be more clearer guidelines in those situations,
Absolutely. So breaking all that down, I'm gonna go ahead and just get into the meat and potatoes of it. I know you've worked really hard, and I appreciate you being able to join with me in this segment, this very special segment. And again, I titled this "The Difference Between Forgiveness and Accountability." So just real quick, just humor me, if you will. When you hear the word forgiveness, what is the first thing you think of?
Forgiveness. Wow. First thing I think of. Wow. I don't know if I have one word, but when I hear the word forgiveness, it's almost like you forgetting about it. You're letting it go. You're getting past it.
Okay.
You're compromising. You starting over. Those type of things.
All right. And almost by definition, in like depending on like where you do your research at, there most people or most explanations of the meaning of forgiveness is kind of going down the very and using the same language that you are using right now. And basically is that you're not holding a grudge for either the offense itself or the person that caused the offense or whatever the case may be. And now mostly when we hear about forgiveness, the first thing we start thinking about is biblical.
Right. Yeah, I was
gonna say that. And then the second is the moral ethical side. Like from speaking from a psychologist point of view, you're not letting that stress of that offense bother you and taking it so personal. You're gonna let it go and just basically, for those of us who believe in karma and stuff like that, karma itself will fix it. Like what they did to me, eventually they'll see it. And if we say it from a spiritual standpoint, we'll be saying, you know what, God is gonna get you. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about me getting you because God himself is going to do it. But either way, everybody agreed, believer or non-believer, we all agree that eventually we all reap the benefits of what we sow out there.
Right.
So be it good or bad.
What they call it karma. Some people believe in karma.
Right. Exactly. So it doesn't matter whether you speak it from a scientific standpoint, a psych standpoint, or a spiritual standpoint. That's the one thing that we pretty much all agree on. And whatever you put out there in the atmosphere, that's what rains down on you. So when I think about accountability, I think about ownership. Dealing with the repercussions of the decisions that I made and facing it with no excuses.
Right.
And let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
And even whenever we learn it from a biblical standpoint, forgiveness does not mean that you are escaping repercussions,
right,
punishment.
right.
It does not mean that.
Right.
It just means that I put it like this. I'm gonna put it real secular. Don't worry about it. It's just business.
Mm-hmm.
It's just business.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't personal. But you ain't getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So what is going to happen and what's already in the process of happening is that they are making a federal civil suit against the police department, as they should.
Oh, yeah.
And it's for the violation of the pastor's Fourth Amendment rights. And there were some other violations in there as well. And he has, bro, I'm telling you, he got a tough civil team on his side. And Dr. Richardson was kind of making a little small joke about it in the other videos, because like I said, since they got the exclusive, I'm just following him behind. I'm watching. Every time he shows the interview, I'm on the edge of my seat, being like, "Oh boy, what they like
Mm-hmm.
and everything." But number one, I'm glad.
It seems that people always respond to those two things: either violence or money. That's you know what I'm saying. And it's sad to say that when you start hitting them in the pocket, you're gonna get some response. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, they starting to get hit in the pocket. They're gonna get tired of, all these lawsuits, and they're gonna get tired of it. You mess with the wrong one.
Yes, sir. And and like I said, I don't want for anyone to watch our platform and think that, oh, my platform is all about conspiracy and leaning one way or the other. It's just like I just got to finish talking to a group of community police at the event that I just had. And I was letting them know then, as a former police officer, and it doesn't matter what branch, it doesn't matter what entity, we were all pretty much trained basically the same way. We only break off in specifics according to the area and according to the jurisdiction and the authority that is given for that jurisdiction. So I'm still to this day a cop at heart. So don't ever think that this black man sitting here is anti-police. No, sir. Not at all. What I am anti is anti-heavy badge, anti-bias, anti-race, like racist behavior and stuff like that. That's what I'm against.
And in any relationship, whether it be a marriage, a friendship, a partnership as far as business wise, or maybe a student-teacher relationship, you have to be able to check yourself. That's what's been missing from the law enforcement side of it. Nobody's been checking them. You know what I'm saying? We love the police. Somebody breaking my house, I'm calling the police. Somebody shoot at my house or assault me, I'm calling the police. So all these years, we've been playing cops and robbers. People wanted to be the cops. You know what I'm saying? And so when they started getting all this negative press and start, doing some questionable things, instead of them, being reprimanded or being checked on it, they've been getting a pass. So it's been a slippery slope to where it is now, where the relationship has gotten so bad with the police because, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, does wrong. But everybody else except the law enforcement side has been punished for it. And for so long, law enforcement wasn't punished at all. It was like they were just getting away with it here and there. So, like you said, it's high time for, just some retribution. Just make it even, Hey, people make mistakes, but you got to be accountable. You're talking about accountability. You got to be accountable, if
for those mistakes.
He's a pastor. I'm sure he's gonna forgive, but you're gonna have to come out them pockets too. You're gonna have to be accountable.
Go ahead and donate to the building for
right. Right.
We appreciate your support.
I forgive you, my brother. Ooh, these seats nice. These some nice seats.
Woo.
Pastor got a sip.
I was listening to Dr. Richard pretty much say the same thing just now. And they would say, oh man, I forget. I don't want to mess it up. But they was pretty much saying the same thing. He said, man, he goes, I hope they get so much money they'll be able to add a brand new wing to the church. Boy, God will provide. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. Our building fund is complete. Well, we, and see, they were just not thinking about adding a senior wing, to the building, so we can take care of our our sick and shut in. Thank you, police department. Thank you. We knew, we've been asking you over the years to donate. And you've been kind of ducking us. So, but now we ain't got to worry about it at all.
But won't he do it? Won't he do
it? Oh my God. Okay. But yeah, man. Yeah, because we had to liven this up because I know we did get kind of serious there for a minute. And that's what I said. I feed off of your energy so much, bro. It's just like sometimes when we do these really serious coverages, man, and that's the whole point, and that's the whole point and the purpose of Elephant Exposed. Mr. TNTBS with my co-host, Mr. Duane Stinson, is that we do want to continue to help expose these elephants of the underreported and the non-reported, and this one right here deserves a whole lot of attention. We need to literally keep this on the forefront, and there's a lot more other stories out there that need to be exposed, and we're going to be doing this even more now, and especially since my man Duane can jump on live at any time and everything. So from this point on, Zoom was very good for pre-recording and everything, but sometimes like we really want to get in these deeper conversations, and Zoom was like, not if you want this free stuff, bro. We're gonna limit your time. Right now, when you see the advantage of going live, we're already at an hour and we still talking about it. We still chopping it up. So this is free form, baby. And I love it. There is no time limit pressure. I'm not sitting up here looking at I've done ran my banners through a few times. I don't even know if you even noticed it. So, yes, sir. And so, and if you like the commentary about what me and Duane are doing, this is what you do, guys. This is what you do right here. Right here. Follow us on TNT.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's my first time on
here.
That's right. I see it now.
Yes, sir. And once you get there, you can join the TNTBS newsroom. That's right. See, we got it for you. All right. And so far, and if you are joining us, like looking at us, whatever, we appreciate you joining. Thank you for joining us. And who you're looking at, this is Elephant Exposed. And that's what we're doing. We are live. And we are thanking Mr. Duane Stinson for digging way, way deep. He is a very hardworking man. He had a very hard shift. I can tell it in his voice when he called me. He was like, bro, man, I'm trying to get there, bro. I'm trying to get there. I just got off from work. And I was like, man, I need to go live right now. Get it. So, it's all good. because we was gonna make you so happy regardless, my man. Because I was just so happy whenever I realized that you can actually use your phone to go live with me. Doing this. So there was one more video, but it's not even necessary to play because we've already hit those points. We already know that they are going to be sued, and to me, it is what it is.
Exactly.
They could have easily just said, you know what, Mr. Preacher Man, we apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But ego is something else, my man.
Right.
And ego and not knowing what you can and cannot do will come back and hurt you every time.
Right.
So any other words of wisdom, any other observations? This is going to be a quick one for you, but you can go back and take a look at what I said earlier to you. But any other thing you want to say to the people's before we wrap it up for tonight?
No, very interesting topic. I wish I could have been here from the beginning, but hey, we'll get them on the next one, And like you said, you just keep doing what you're doing, my brother, exposing these elephants.
Yes, sir.
And I'll be right here with you, my brother. We're gonna do this thing one topic at a time because they keep. We can't make it up. They keep doing.
We can't. We really can't. Sometimes it's almost too much. I can't keep up.
Right. It's like, did you not watch the news last week?
Man.
It needs to be brought to the forefront because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes this kind of activism and just beating it. Some people say beating a dead horse, but it's not beating a dead horse. It's really reinforcing the fact that, you know what I'm saying, this stuff is going on, because a lot of times, like you said, the mainstream is going to show you the glitz and glamour, you know what I'm saying? But you do need to know about these things coming on, because who knows who could be faced with some of these things. I remember we did a show about, being arrested. When are you in custody? That's a very important topic, because you might not know if you arrested or you being detained,
Absolutely.
Just stuff like that people need to know. And the probable cause, or when you
reasonable suspicion
can be stopped. Just things like that. Y'all continue to watch and be informed. Because I'm learning just like y'all are. You know what I'm saying? This the expert right here. I just bring the comedy. I'm just the layman term. You know what I'm saying? So y'all continue to tune in, man. Y'all continue to tune in and learn. And like you said, you can also. It's interactive, right? They can make comment or whatever, So, hey,
cool. All they got to do is just click on that live button, comment. We can see it, and since we live, I can address the questions right off the bat. All of that, and that's why we want this thing live. And I know, like a lot of people right about now is they getting ready for work and stuff, so they probably won't see this one until sometime in the afternoon. But we really want to start doing these things around about the time when people are getting off from work, so we can go live and people like, hey, what they talking about? But either way, y'all let us know what you think about the topic, the coverage, and what you think about when you hear the word forgiveness versus accountability. Do they go hand in hand? Do they oppose each other? Y'all heard what we had to say. Now we want to hear what you got to say. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let Mr. Duane get his overdue and well-deserved rest for this evening. Okay?
All right, now.
Peace out, okay?
Peace.